A few weeks ago, I said that investing in oil or investing in oil stocks was not going to be a good idea moving forward. And I actually caught a lot of heat from that, believe it or not. But look, turns out that oil is going to continue to go down and the price of oil is going to continue to get crushed. I'm going to go into why the price of oil is going to continue to tank. And it all has to do with OPEC, Saudi Arabia, and the Russians. All that and more coming up. What's going on, everybody? Yes, so Saudi Arabia is seeking to repeat history yet again. Back in 2014, they tried to flood the market with oil, and it looks like they're about to do it yet again, repeating history and hoping that there's going to be a different result. Well, I'm going to give you the facts as to why they're doing this, and then I'll give my opinion later on in this video. But then more importantly, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. But before I get to all that, just want to welcome you to this channel. Hi, my name is Brad, and this is Own the Chaos. The stock market is a crazy and chaotic place, and I've made it my mission to help you own it. So if you want to see more content like this, I certainly would appreciate a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. You know what to do. I certainly would appreciate it. All right, so Saudi Arabia and Russia had it out over the weekend in their OPEC meeting. So if you don't know what OPEC is, it's actually the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, founded by Iran, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, and Iraq back in the 60s. The objective was to coordinate and unify petroleum policies in order to secure fair and stable prices for petroleum producers. Obviously, you don't have to go too far down into the history books to understand that nobody really gave a crap about being fair, considering all the wars that have been started in that area as it relates to oil. But nevertheless, OPEC was set in place, and ultimately the price of oil per barrel relies on a lot of what's going on with OPEC. So fast forwarding to 2014, now that you have a little bit of the history, Saudi Arabia temporarily broke apart OPEC and flooded the market with oil in hopes to crush the U.S. Shale producers. And at that time, oil actually ended up tanking down to nearly $20 a barrel. And as you can see on this chart right here, as of this recording, oil has broken a serious support here at $42 a barrel and looking like it could potentially continue to come down lower. And a lot of it is a result of a lot of things which I've talked about in my previous video about oil prices and where they are headed. But then also, now that the OPEC deal is actually falling apart again, this could definitely see those $20 per barrel numbers, and I'll explain my reasoning why in just a second. So this past Saturday, Russia and the Saudis actually came together in an OPEC summit to try to negotiate production of oil and pricing and all that good stuff. Well, Russia wanted them to reduce production of oil at around 1.5 million barrels per day. So they wanted to cut the production of oil because there's actually a surplus of oil right now and demand is actually pretty low considering what's going on with the beer bug epidemic and what's going on with that. People aren't traveling as much, and so they wanted to basically reduce the production of oil for now to lower the supply and then increase the demand. Simple economics, right? The Saudis responded by announcing that they were going to push as many barrels of crude into the market as possible and slash pricing of oil more than they have in the last 20 years, telling some sources they plan to produce as much as a record 12 million barrels a day of crude oil. So now that you have the facts, guys, here is my opinion. The definition of insanity is happening here, as quoted by Albert Einstein, and that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is just that, the definition of insanity. And that's what the Saudis again are trying to do here in 2020. I mean, did they not learn from their mistakes back just 6 years ago? And it just, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. Nevertheless, in my opinion, it's just so simple economics. I don't know what kind of economists they have running the show over there in Saudi Arabia, but simple economics will tell you that the more supply there is of something, the lower the demand. And when things start to become more scarce, well, then demand goes up. Therefore, the price of that material product or commodity or oil in this case actually ends up going up. And in a market where demand was already at its lows, you're then providing even more oil and supplying the market with even more of a product that nobody really wants as much. And it's going to bring the price of oil down even further. So I go back to where I was given a lot of heat about investing in oil and that I didn't think it was going to be a great idea. Now it's looking like it's an even worse idea to be investing in oil, as this is going to create an even bigger bigger mess. For the Saudis, for anybody in the oil industry, when you have a surplus such as this and demand continues to come down, especially as fears of the virus continue to escalate, people aren't going to be traveling as much. And so it's just a really bad deal for the Saudis. I don't see how this is going to work out for them. And in my opinion, I think we could even see gas prices as low as we did pre-2000. And I really kind of want to hear from you guys. Do you think that that's definitely a possibility? I've already seen in several states where the price of regular gas has come down well below $2 a gallon. And so I'm curious to see how much further we can go. And so now you're probably asking yourself, what can I get into or invest in or maybe trade to try to capitalize on this event that's going on with the Saudis, Russia, and the OPEC agreement? Well, I want to bring you over to WeTradeHQ.com. We're going to look up these two ETFs, DWT and UWT, and these are both inverses of each other. So when UWT is going up, DWT goes down, and vice versa. UWT follows the price of oil on the bullish side, and DWT follows the price of oil on the bearish side. So you're looking at this and saying, okay, if the price of oil is coming down, I want to go long on DWT. So you can see here that DWT is actually coming up to a resistance level here at around 1036 on this chart. And so when you're looking here and trying to judge what's going to be happening in the market throughout this week, I would venture to say that this probably ends up breaking this resistance here and continues to go up. And we might even see highs on DWT as high as $20 per share if the price of oil continues to tank. Again, looking at the oil futures, this was a crucial support for it at $42, and it is now breaking right through that as of this recording. I venture to say that this probably ends up going back down to the $20 per barrel price range, maybe even lower than that. So I think it's safe to say that, in my opinion, it is not a good idea to be investing in oil. And a lot of these other oil companies that provide high yield dividends, it's not going to save them for the long term. But that's enough for me. Now I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think the price of oil is going to come down to lows that we haven't seen in quite some time, maybe even 20 plus years? Do you think that oil is going to rebound at some point, even this week? Do you think that we've reached the bottom price of oil and that it's time to start buying it up? And finally, what is your favorite oil stock? Do you like to invest in Exxon, or do you like to invest in some of these ETFs? I want to hear from you. Leave me some comments down below as I respond to every single one of them, and I love engaging with you guys in that way. Speaking of engaging with you guys, if you would like to engage with me even more, I have now created a membership of the Own the Chaos channel. So if you would like to get a daily watch list from me, as well as a lot of other cool extra perks and features that come along with being a member of this channel, go ahead and click that join button where you can get even more access to yours truly every single day. So that's going to do it for me, guys. If you like this video, I certainly would appreciate a thumbs up. And if you have not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. I certainly appreciate it as well if you want to see more content such as this. And as always, folks, I will see you all before the bell, and B Smith is out. That's an unbelievable number for 1 million shares of Delta. Like I said, I can't wrap my head around that. And really, on the surface, this makes a lot of sense, right? Delta has crashed 20% along with a lot of the other stocks in the whole stock market. And I've been telling you guys, my viewers, that this would be a good time to consider buying into some stocks. And I gave you a few that may be a good idea.